I love hosting and having dinner parties, so this week I had some friends over for my birthday dinner party and I made truffle pasta in a cheese wheel, a butter candelabra, oyster, caviar, and cheese appetizers, and for dessert I made a giant vanilla cake topped with raspberries and tiramisu. I got started on prep the night before making the base layer of the butter candelabra, and then I made 2 sheet cakes for my raspberry cake. I also prepped the tiramisu, dividing the eggs, adding in sugar, vanilla, mascarpone, mixing everything all together, and then I dunked the ladyfingers in some coffee and started layering everything all together. I did 2 layers and then topped it with the rest of the cream and refrigerated that. The next day I set the table and then piped on all the little decorative butter onto the candelabra, then put it back into the fridge. I cut up the sheet cake and added that to a cake board, and then I made a mascarpone frosting, added that to the cake, and then topped that with a bunch of raspberries. I then started on my pasta. I made an extra large batch because I had 7 people over, so I added the eggs to my 00 flour, then mixed that up with a fork, and then went in with my hands to knead it all together. I pressed my thumb in to make sure it bounced back, and then I refrigerated it, thinned it out, and used my fettuccine attachment to cut it out. I got my giant cheese wheel out and then started carving the Parmesan out from the wheel to create a little well. I then started cutting up some brie and added raspberry jam onto some antique silver spoons for an appetizer, added in some pebble ice for the oysters, cut up a bunch of the different accompaniments for the oysters and caviar, opened up the caviar, added that to some pebble ice as well, and then started kind of placing everything, added the champagne to its bucket, added some kettle chips, some prosciutto, and then started lighting the candles for everyone's arrival. I popped some champagne, started pouring it into glasses, and then we all had a toast. I brought out the butter candelabra, which was a crowd favorite. A friend of mine shucked all the oysters for me so I didn't make a mess, and then we just enjoyed all the little appetizers. We had oysters, we had some bumps of caviar, and then I started cooking the pasta, added in some white wine to the well, started heating it up, and then started getting some of that cheese, added in the pasta with some pasta water, some pepper and salt, and then mixed that all together. Of course, I had to do a little taste test. It was so good. Then I started plating the pasta. I added on some black truffle shavings. We ate pasta. Then it was time for dessert. I blowed out all my candles, cut up the tiramisu, and put that into some silver coupes, dusted it with cocoa powder, and then we all huddled around the cake table and ate dessert. And then I ended the night blowing out my butter candles. Happy New Year.